Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is Quotes 231. Today the quote is by Dr. Seuss, and this is the first time we're ever doing a quote by Dr. Seuss. He was a very famous illustrator and writer of books for small children. Very, very basic books. They were usually for like somebody who was really just a beginner reader, because he used very simple words and not many. So let's continue here. Let's take a look at the quote. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself. Steer means, control the direction of where you're going. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. So this is a quote that's actually covered by him, because even though it's written for very simple, simple books for children, it actually has some deep meaning behind it. All right, let's continue. The real name of Dr. Seuss was Theodore Seuss Geisel. He was most famous for his book series in which he wrote and illustrated over 60 books. I think we usually refer to it as like the Cat in the Hat series, because that was the main character he used. It was the cat that was kind of like magical, and he always wore this hat. They even made a movie about 20 years ago, 15 years ago. They made it into Mike Myers, the guy that does the voice for Shrek, actually played the character of the Cat in the Hat. I always wondered how they did it, too, because there's not many words, so they really probably had to add a lot to make that into an entire movie. But let's continue here. Okay, so the books were all written for small children and had mostly illustrations, not many words. Most of his books only average between 200 and 300 words. Yeah, that's really not a lot of words. Now, they were short. They probably were about 20 or 30 pages, but 200 to 300 words is really nothing. It's difficult to write a book like that. His book, Green Eggs and Ham, only used 50 words. Yeah, it's kind of a funny story behind that, because his editor bet him that he could not write a book that was 50 words or less. So he wrote a book that was exactly 50 words, and that was Green Eggs and Ham. And believe it or not, that's one of his more famous children's books. Almost everyone knows Green Eggs and Ham. All right, so anyway, let's go on. Therefore, he had to keep it simple and make sure each word counted. Surprisingly, with so few words, he is often quoted. All right, let's continue. The quote we covered today is from his book, Oh, the Places You'll Go. Okay. With this quote, Dr. Seuss is basically telling you that you are the master of your own destiny. So you're the one who's in control. You can control your life. You can make it go in any direction you want. All right, let's continue. You have a brain in your head, of course, which can be used for thinking, learning, and most importantly, for making decisions. You have feet in your shoes that your brain can control, of course, hopefully. Even though there are many who try to control the direction of our lives, in the end, you have the power to take control and steer it so you can control what direction it's going in. For better or worse, so try to make the most of it. So even though you're in control, try to steer it or lead it in the right direction. Anyway, I hope you got it. I hope it's clear. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.